I don't want to see her parked on the Spock,
right?
Kirk fuck bus, and that's just where
oh my God, what a bus that is.
You know?
Jesus. Captain's Pod, stardate 2004-85.1. Welcome aboard the Starship's Enterprise, and thank you for joining us on our continuing voyages through the final frontier. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, she pretends to not know the difference between 1/8 and 1/6 impulse. It's Ambassador Deneé.
I don't have to pretend.
Exactly. That's why you're so good at pretending.
Yeah. It's like one of those things where it's like, okay, well, is it that we're 1/8 closer to going faster? Or
well, that was my first question, was which one do you think is fastest?
I think 1/8.
You would be wrong.
Wait, no.
Because 1/8 is the smaller fraction.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1/8 impulse or 1/4 impulse is slower than the speed of light. And I think full impulse, somebody's gonna tell me. Full impulse, I don't know how fast that is.
So you also don't know.
No, I don't. I know which one's faster. I know that 1/8 is slower than 1/6, and it was a reference to Ortegas. Anyway, how are you doing this week, Ambassador? Bearing in mind that we have about 3 minutes of preamble before we have to get into watching the episode.
Probably the biggest thing is that we're going to be moving Captain's Pod to some new channels, some new places. So what you podcast listeners need to know is that nothing should change for you. The feed will still be in the same spot, so you don't have to think about much more. For everything else, how we're going live, where to find us on like Discords and Patreons and YouTube, all of that will be changing. So please make sure to listen at the end of today's episode for all those specifics. But I wanted to tell you about it right now before we jump into the good stuff.
Oh, there's so much exciting stuff happening with Captain's Pod. We're gonna be doing some things.
You're talking about the 3D printer. I'm not talking about the 3D printer.
I'm mainly talking about
our
printer.
feed.
Yeah, no, that's fair. This week, Ambassador, we have got a space adventure hour. What are your predictions? Actually, last week's you did give me one prediction last week, which was that was my prediction, which was sensible. They're going to change the format of the show entirely somehow. Your prediction is enter into a portal and come out as hamsters. Were you sticking to that, or did you have some time to percolate?
Well, here's the sad news. I have been spoiled a little bit.
Oh,
so
this
I
is rare.
I can't do predictions this week. So because I just don't think it would be very fair. I saw a couple of still shots that were like thumbnails of links.
Yeah.
And so I am confident that I know either the thumbnail people are trolling us, which would be awesome, or I've been spoiled. So I can't do any predictions.
Damn it.
But
okay.
I'm still hopeful for hamsters, even despite that.
Despite they're not literally appearing in any of the preview thumbnails. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm intrigued to hear exactly what got spoiled and how that affected your viewing of the show, because I tend to be quite spoiler heavy. So there's a couple of things that I know already just from viewing the feeds and whatnot. But we'll discuss that in 10 Forward. Let's just go straight to the holodeck and watch the episode. 2 to beam out. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched together. Most important question first. Do you represent the whole of the Space Federation?
No.
What would you like from the replicator, Ambassador?
I don't know.
I
do.
Stumped.
No,
okay.
I know.
Okay, you're not stumped.
I want a dance lesson ticket for my spot with Spock.
Well, then that's convenient because I will take La'an's spot.
Great.
Yeah.
They will not be impressed with our skills.
No,
but we'll have their
charming.
attention for the length of at least one song.
Exactly. I don't think it's going to last that long because I will probably either step on her or fall down.
It's okay. You know, the first dance, it's fine. She's wearing like combat boots. Second dance, she's probably going to notice.
And she's probably actually going to step on me first, but deliberately. Ambassador, give us a synopsis. If you can, for the multiple episodes that happened today.
Okay. So this is, I think if you were going to try to describe this to a friend in the future, it would be, this is a holodeck episode. So if you're doing
100%.
If you're doing a holodeck series and you're wanting to give any kind of information, then I think this has to be one that you show for multiple reasons, but the main reason, holodeck at least, is that we're looking at the origin of the holodeck.
Yeah.
The test pilot episode. This is the first time the holodeck is ever used, and man, did I watch that happen.
Interesting.
It's also like a little bit of a parody of TOS. So if you're wanting to kind of watch something that has some very strong nods to TOS, and it's a public announcement for the purpose of sci-fi everywhere. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge to camera. Don't cancel the shows that inspire the future generations.
Yeah, give them more than one season, unless it's shit.
And I think that's everything. Oh, and Spock and La'an are a thing now.
Yeah, that's a good way to sum up the episode. Overall thoughts and feelings before we get into specifics. Did you have a good time with this adventure hour?
No, not really. You?
Interesting. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't help myself. I had a really good, very similarly to last week, but for different reasons. I had a blast. I really love it when Strange New Worlds embraces the episodic TNG, TOS shit that I really, really like. And I think I'm this close to just eating pizza for the rest of my life. Like, I know that's a meal that I like. I enjoy it. I don't need variety. I'm just going to enjoy this thing over and over again. That's probably not very good for me. More interestingly, Ambassador, what didn't hit you the right way?
I was so bored. I'm so sorry. No. Yeah, and it's like one of those where I'm like, man, I think everyone's going to like this one. And yeah.
So what was it? Was it the murder mystery element of it all? Because that's the bit that dragged for me a little bit. Like, that murder mystery was not great.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it went down at that point for me, for sure. That's when I started to look at my phone and find other things to do.
Oh no.
My notes are minimal because it's like none of this really matters. Like, we're not going to spend time talking about the interesting parts of this mystery, right?
Oh, none of the mystery itself.
The mystery in the mystery is the whodunit is that Spock is not Spock. And that it could have a very interesting payoff, to some degree. But I think because I had been checked out for so long, I want to be back on our ship, guys. Like, I want our characters. I don't want to see. Okay, just talking about the holodeck stuff, which is what kicked me out of this episode. I think it's really, really fun to let the actors have a good time doing something completely different, But this isn't like a bottle episode where it's just like one or two characters that kind of have their own little episode and everyone else just has a little appearance. This is still the full cast. And it's the full cast doing a murder mystery inside the holodeck. But the only way to accomplish that in Strange New Worlds before the holodeck was a holodeck is to kind of make it the first holodeck. And watching Scotty try to keep everything on the rails was more interesting to me. And my favorite moment of the entire show was his little sidebar with Uhura. Like, that was the most realistic kind of fun. That's the most engaged I was the entire time. And even the parody stuff was just like, okay, it's just like a silly little parody, but it's them getting to do a parody.
It is, yeah.
So the characters that we watched today are playing a parody. They're playing the actors that play the parody, and they're also our actual people all at the same time. And for me, it just missed, and I got really like disinterested because that everyone's going to survive. It wasn't even a thing where there was an entity inside the collapsing nebula star that was trying to communicate with them. It wasn't even anything like that. It was just...
Yeah, the nebula didn't actually play into it again. After that initial, Scotty has redistributed power and they've escaped. The nebula actually doesn't come back into the story.
No.
The ticking clock is over super duper quick. So
well, the ticking clock is there because it's going to suck them in, and so Scotty has to get a message through so that she gets out of the mystery before they're like hit by the gamma wave of the star. So the star does provide the ticking time clock so that there has to be a quick resolution instead of something that can take time. Their proximity to the star, their physical proximity to the star is what ultimately, gives Scotty that last bit of adrenaline. And it's not even really Scotty that solves the mystery. It's Uhura. So anyway, but
which is great. Don't you dare take that from Uhura. They'd never get any lines.
I love Uhura. That's my favorite part. Uhura and Scotty together solving like all of the stuff on screen that's just showing errors and him trying to hold it all together and learn his lesson. That drew me in. So when it was on screen, I was watching it. When it was off screen, I was on my phone.
I guess. Do you think that would have changed if they'd found a way to make it the crew in the holodeck and not holograms that look like the crew? Would that have made it matter more?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, it was interesting, to see the actors again being given new roles and new accents and just something unique to sort of dive into. But I didn't care about it at all, at all.
It's really interesting. I love that it's definitely them playing. I love that they all got to play, especially Paul Wesley getting to play Shatner's version of Kirk is great. I love that. Anson Mount doing something a lot different to what I've seen him do before as well. So I love that, and I don't think you can get that as authentically when you have the crew members in there. I think it has to be hologram versions of them. So I kind of allow that in my brain. The murder mystery element wasn't super engaging, possibly because as soon as Spock was on the holodeck, I called it that he was a hologram straight away, because as soon as La'an was like, "What are you doing here?" And her surprise, I was like, well, that's your way in to explain why this isn't the Spock that is supposed to be Spock.
It's still odd for me that the computer would have Spock be the welcoming program part. That still doesn't make much sense to me. It's obviously to set up the twist at the end, but she didn't walk in and say, "Computer, start program," did she?
Well, she started the program in engineering, because it's exactly what they did with Data in Elementary, My Dear Data, when Geordi says, "Create a villain capable of fooling Data." And there's the power surge, and they create Moriarty, who's a self-aware hologram. It's the same thing. La'an does it in engineering. This is an amalgamation kind of all of the holodeck episodes that we've seen before. So she creates a problem that has got to outwit her. And the computer's like, well, the only person that I've seen kind of outwit La'an is Spock. So I'm going to recreate a Spock that is ready for her in the holodeck. So it's kind of like a game within side of a game thing. So she had kicked it off in engineering, so the computer was ready for her.
Yeah. Okay. And that is very, very clever. But I don't know. I guess because I didn't catch that, I wasn't as intrigued. So it's interesting because you were saying that you caught it right away, and maybe you've seen other episodes that do something similar, because there's also people in the chat who are saying they caught it right away. But for me, it was just okay, she's going to test. We know something's going to go wrong. She's going to, be in peril. She's going to get out. Everybody's going to live. So it didn't really feel like there was much. I wasn't entertained by it. And it was a very convoluted mystery. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of information, a lot of new names, a lot of oh, but you're the producer and you're the blah. And it really just felt like it was sort of an homage to TOS. Everything was built around, we want to talk as much about TOS as we possibly can. How do we do that mixed with what we have going on? Because the whole thing, and that doesn't work for me because I'm not a TOS girl. So how did that also make it better for you? That it was very that's Kirk?
So this is, the more I think about it, and I think we both see this episode the same way, and it works for you. It works for me, doesn't work for you. Because this, for me, is an homage to Star Trek and specifically TOS, wrapped in an homage to holodeck episodes. So the more I think about it, the more in my head, I don't think it matters that I figured out that Spock was a hologram all along, or that it follows the tropes. Because I think it was deliberately taking all of the holodeck elements that we've seen before across Deep Space Nine, Voyager, TNG. So the safety protocols being off, some kind of space anomaly messing with the holodeck and locking them inside. The holodeck creating characters based off of the crew. These are there. I don't know that there was a single original element to the episode. I think it was just doing a send up of all holodeck episodes and putting it together, but then also taking the opportunity to, let's do, while we've got the chance, an homage to TOS as well. So gave them the opportunity to do that. Really fun opening, having the characters in Strange New Worlds play the cast members of TOS, which is a really interesting spin. So I think for me, that all worked, and there's layers to that I really, really, really loved. But it is a deep dive, super, super duper nerd fan servicey way of doing it, but it just kind of worked for me. Where somebody popped up in the chat, I think it was Skywalking Through Neverland, and we don't usually mention the live chats, but I wanted to mention this one because they broadcast this in Hall H at Comic-Con, and that's where this commenter got to see it. So, and that is the perfect place to broadcast this. If I'd seen this episode in Hall H in front of the some of the cast and all of like the hyper Star Trek fandomery, like it's a great episode to show to those people. So yeah, I think it's interesting that it's probably an episode that doesn't really super work for the casual viewer or somebody dropping in, but I do think it's a bit of a love note and gift to the fans.
100%. Like it's very, very clearly that. And they have people, giving lines like, my skirts are getting higher and my lines are getting shorter.
Which is perfect.
Things like that. So I don't mind that those are there. It was just a very fast pace. It was like, what if it was our crew, that people want to see our Strange New Worlds Kirk become Captain Kirk. How do we do that? How do we put the Doctor in a role? How do we put all these things together? And this is what they came up with. And it's not that it's bad. It's just definitely not like, it wasn't something that drew me in, for whatever reason. But it is interesting that the messages that they were saying as the characters or as the actors that were playing the characters of this like TOS-esque type show, that's like a canon thing. It's almost like an apology for how it all got started. It was almost like, hey, things went down, things were crazy, scripts were given to other people or stolen or whatever. Like how much angst was written into this that just, it's like therapy. Like we were just watching writers therapy or producers therapy or actors therapy from this sort of era of showmaking. Because one of the things we talked about before is TOS is so vastly different than Strange New Worlds, but Strange New Worlds precedes TOS. And so the handoff on the timeline, if somebody in the future were to ever just be like, well, let's watch them in chronological order, and then we just hard shift into what
so
TOS
strange.
is.
Yeah.
This would be that very interesting sort of like a little nod to it. Like, hey, what you're about to see isn't okay.
Yeah.
And it's not an excuse, but it's sort of like a way of acknowledging it. And I do think that that's clever, but the way that it's sort of, I thought we were going to be in an alternate universe or something. And that these were all like the characters we were going to be seeing. The absolute ridiculousness of the show with like the little multiple eyeballed alien person that was on screen, all those things. And then getting to see sort of the blooper reel at the end where
that got me.
where I like that part where they sort of peeled back and showed sort of, this is how it would be done. This is how it's produced, and adding in the mystery to that and all those things. It did make it a little bit of an amalgamation feel, like a little cacophony rather than a symphony.
Yeah, if I had, that's a good metaphor. If I had like a bit of a complaint with it, and it's such a fine line to go through, I think it went too silly. I think it was actually sillier than TOS, which made it feel a little bit less genuine. So all of the Shatner lines were a bit too much. The alien was a bit too silly. Like I couldn't actually believe this was a TV show that was properly kind of out there and had been made and had garnered success. Whereas TOS, as silly as it is, I can still understand why and I can see it.
But I think the idea, though, is that was the computer's version of a show. It wasn't an actual show.
This is what I'm lost at. I'm not clear on that fact. I don't know if The Last Frontier was a TV show that exists in the Star Trek universe, or it's something that the computer made up. I got the impression that it was real, that it actually happened and it was just incorporated into the murder mystery.
Well,
but I'd love to get confirmation on that because that's kind of important.
Yeah, I guess. I guess, I don't know. But I thought it was interesting because when the show started off with a clip of this TOS like episode, I was thinking, okay, this is cuckoo bananas. Like, what else is coming? And then, it's sort of like that was a teaser to what she saw in the holodeck. So I also, when they were heading towards the star in our actual, starship with our crew, I was thinking, oh, is there like an alternate reality where that is an actual starship and this is like a silliness, and they're going to somehow meet each other in this alternate dimension?
That would be too wild, too weird. I think. I mean, no, it's not. It wouldn't be too weird. I guess I take it back immediately. That could absolutely happen. We've had cartoons crossover.
The hardest part would be, I guess, justifying that you're seeing like little sticks on eyeballs or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
so one of the reasons that it jumped out at me is that real things are mentioned. So like Max Factor being a brand that actually exists. Is it the Carson Daily Show? The whatever it is.
Yeah,
the
Carson. I think it was
show.
Carson.
NBC, like they actually like the Arn and all of them were talking about real things, and I just imagine that The Last Frontier was their way of explaining how Star Trek got into pop culture in Star Trek. I totally
missed the conversation about that.
Yeah.
So I missed that part. But still, I mean, the computer program is probably pulling, like you said, it's pulling from a combination of history and then imagination, because it's also pulling from books and creating something from nothing. So
yeah, because the Amelia Moon books aren't real. Unless I'm completely... I did a quick Google and I don't think that was a completely fictional...
I think it might be based on Nancy Drew style...
Agatha Christie
sort of thing. So...
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was a little bit of the mystery of it, that you're just kind of not so sure of what's actually kind of happening in this episode. And I think like the purpose of the episode is to do so many things at once. But as far as within the storytelling structure of Strange New Worlds, we're seeing a deeper connection between two characters, and we're seeing Scotty take a more dominant role as like the engineering lead, and finding his place. And that's really and we get to see why the pilot comes back, Ortegas, like what excuses her, coming back to the table. So we do see some momentum with some storylines of our crew, but the bulk of this episode is spent, in sort of the silly spaces that usually we get to have in future, or like in TNG or any other ones, because we have holosuites or holodecks. So we get to have these fun little one-offs where suddenly our favorite characters are Robin Hood and Little John. This show shouldn't be able to do that, but they found a way to do it.
Which is why I think they didn't try and do their own thing necessarily. And because they know they have this one shot to do it without breaking canon, that's why they chose this amalgamation collection episode rather than, what can we do? Can we put it into Shakespeare or something like that? Overall, to wrap up the overall thoughts and feelings section that we're doing, it really worked for me. I really, really liked it. I think the more I think about it, the more it doesn't matter whether Space Adventure Hour, the Last Frontier is a thing that happened or whatever. It's a send up of the whole genre and maybe a little bit of an explanation as to why, hey, don't be mad when the original series looks so different to Strange New Worlds, and just an acknowledgement of it being a product of its time and getting to talk about like Uhura's speech. I think if all of it just leads to Uhura's character's speech on the holodeck about what Star Trek can do for people, like that, I think it's worthwhile. So it really, really worked for me, and probably because I'm the diehard super fan. So I think, I get it. I don't know how you watch it as a casual viewer and really appreciate it.
Yeah, I thought about that while I was watching. I was like, I think, when it's talking about like somewhere right now, someone is watching this show, and it felt like, I think it was like Never Ending Story, when it's like the princess is the childlike empress is talking to Sebastian, who is reading the book, and it's like this immersion breaking moment when it's that feeling as a kid when something gets you, this fantasy world is like your thing, and you're the only one who can save it. And I'm like, oh, they're talking to little Ian right now.
Oh, they really are. And I get it not working. Like all of the reasons that you're explaining for why it doesn't work, I completely accept and understand with the cognitive dissonance that it absolutely works for me. And I think it's one of those things. And honestly, I'm glad it exists. I'd much rather Strange New Worlds did this self-aware Star Trek homage thing. I'm kind of okay with the show being that.
Yeah, and I it's just one of those things that didn't hit for me. Like for me, I didn't need that. I don't know that speech is going to sway some network person who to keep something on the air. But historically, it is the fans, and like we have Star Trek because of the fans. And I learned this early on in this podcast. We're talking to, who do we talk to? About being on the picket lines.
Fred Bronson.
I was going to say Mark. So thank you. Yeah, Fred.
Yeah.
And that was a really touching moment because we're literally talking to somebody who joined the few hundred that were there. They're like, we love this show so much. Keep it on. And I think we kind of forget, we become passive in our consumption, because I'm used to shows getting canceled or moving to different streaming services, and you just sort of are like, well, I guess that's not on anymore, you know, and you forget that you have a voice in it. And the only thing that speech did for me was just remind me that we have Star Trek today because someone saw it and believed in it, thought it was important. And so maybe without that speech, I guess maybe that's a conversation that the newer Star Trek fans wouldn't like know that's important to the history of this sort of like of this series.
Yeah.
Of this, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it encourages you to dig into that, then that's really fun. Like, this is one of the episodes that has inspired in my brain the biggest downside to us recording immediately after the episode is that I don't have any opportunity to do any research. There are so many Easter eggs, nods, and references into this episode that it makes me want to release an entire different episode where I've had a week to read up on everything and then just go through all of the awesome nods and references because there's so much in here. Like, it really is a meticulously put together episode.
If we ever decided to do like an additional short thing, it could be that because so this format of this podcast is we watch it, we immediately talk about it. And so we really don't have a chance to kind of marinate and do a lot of digging in. But I definitely felt a lot of references. There was a moment when the Spock simulator said something about a writer.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, that seems important. And I didn't know if it was a reference to future episodes that are in the holodeck.
So this is a canon confirming fan theory, and we're jumping around a little bit, which is absolutely fine, but this was really, really fun. So in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, they are trying to solve a murder mystery of their own that Kirk and McCoy have been framed for. And
in the holodeck? No,
nothing. This is in real life. And Spock is on the bridge. They're doing a differential diagnosis. They're getting through all of the things. And Spock says, as one of my ancestors used to say, whatever solution remains, or whatever answer remains, no matter how illogical, must be the truth. And that's a famous Sherlock Holmes quote, obviously written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And you're like, hang on a minute, one of my ancestors? And because Spock is half human, we're like, I guess he could just mean one of his human ancestors, but it didn't feel like a very Spock thing to do. So this fan theory was born that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was actually a Vulcan hiding on Earth. And this just reinforces that. So this is Ethan Peck's Spock, who also mentioned Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and saying, one of my ancestors has done this. And people have even said, well, is he saying that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is a direct ancestor of Spock's human lineage? So is he actually the great grandson of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle? So again, it's just another fun little nod of this episode is cementing something that was just trickled in a movie in the 1980s, and they're just bringing it back and cementing it a little bit deeper. So either it doesn't mean much of anything, or Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was Vulcan, or he's directly related to Spock. And I love all of those things.
I got lost. But I will say that there's a lot of people in the chat that are bringing up the quote, and that sounds cool. That sounds cool. So.
It's so fun. We've seen it in the Cinemasins video for The Undiscovered Country, and it's like, that's a head scratcher. But it's fun. Either way, it's fun, and I love that it's continuing the mystery a little bit. I don't think it gives a complete answer, but I really, really enjoyed that. Well, Ambassador, let's, I think we've talked about a good chunk of the episode, but were there any individual standout moments? I think we've dove in so much, I don't really want to go chronological through scene by scene. Let's just talk about any of your standout moments. Like you mentioned Uhura and Scotty being a fun one for you.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, of course.
What do you mean?
Well, that was their whole exchange.
Oh,
where he was like, hypothetically,
yes.
and he's like, I don't mean hypothetically. Like, I got that immediately.
Yeah. I don't know. I just love the ship so much. It's such a beautiful set, and I want to see more of it, So I think it's just such a shame to go into another world when there's so much of this environment that's really unique. I liked seeing the I don't know, Strange New Worlds is an interesting kind of it's so modern, yet we go into TOS that looks like what we saw almost at the beginning.
Yeah.
But the sets are really, really yummy.
I really like Scotty's engineering set. That's
and his
kind
exactly.
of new. Yeah, his lab thing.
And I wanted to be in there more. There's all these tubes. He's kind of like, he's pulling things out of the wall. When Uhura comes to him with the final idea, it's essentially what it looks like when I decide that, you know what, even though I'm in the middle of dinner and I have company coming over in an hour, I'm going to reorganize my entire room. Yeah. And I just start opening up drawers, and it was just chaos. And
oh my gosh, those cables on the wall, when he comes up with the nebula idea, it looks like our back end right now. It looks like how we have our cables set up.
Oh boy. Our cables should be considered like we should have to pay fines for what's going on.
Yeah, I'm looking down there right now. And
don't look at it. If you don't look at it, it's like, we don't know how we got it to be fixed, like Scotty. But right now we have working systems. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to see more, obviously more of that. And I will say also, knowing at the beginning that the set that they built that was meant to look old school was really delightful.
Oh, it's so fun. It was so diddy and so little. They got their own little uniforms as well. And I just think it did a great job summing up all of the digs that we have at TOS. So it's kind of like, what we say about TOS, what if it was actually that bad? What if it was actually real? So the more I think about it, like I see so many other layers. Like, hey, TOS wasn't that bad, because if it was, it would have been like this. Like Shatner's line deliveries weren't that bad. If they were, this is the impression that you're actually hearing of it. So I think it was meant to be over the top.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the opening shot is just basically half of a naked woman. We were both like, whoa,
let's go. And his eyebrow, like Paul Wesley, I actually think Paul Wesley did an incredible job doing his over the top Shatner it was over the top, but without being silly. Like it still felt like he put a lot of like refinement into it. And the writing, honestly, is incredible. Like there are so many like laugh out loud lines for me in that opening bit. He represents the whole of the Alliance. I don't know if that was deliberately meant to be sexual, but it definitely sounded like it. I wrote the book on space jurisdiction, and I'm known for my
diction.
Diction was chef's kiss, absolutely incredible. I always love when so much effort goes into a throwaway thing, because they're never going to use that set again. They're never going to really revisit those costumes, I would imagine. But it was full send, like full commitment to the bit. And I loved that. Yeah,
it was really, really fun. I mean, every set, they do great with every set. Chat wants us to talk about the looks in the holodeck as well, just as another example. I love the costuming. This show
Beautiful
is great.
Costuming. Incredible.
I mean, I still want a pair of those boots. In fact, that's in my notes when they were dancing and showing.
They did a deliberate close-up.
Like Spock and La'an's little boots. And it's just like, man, that just reminds me that I want to buy those boots so bad. I still don't have the boots. Yes. I still don't have the money for those boots. Yes. Those boots are like $400 or probably more now.
It's incredible.
Ugh. But of course, it looks good. And it's nice to see that something that people love is being like cared for this well.
Yeah.
So I definitely did enjoy that. And I think that's worth talking about. And then also something that was mentioned in the chat was giving La'an a challenge and seeing her get excited. That is another character arc that I think this episode did really well, is trying to give La'an more than just I'm afraid of Gorn and traumatized. And they're obviously doing a good job of that. Last episode, we got to see her talking with number one, about Ortegas and the concerns and her leadership. So she's, for me, formulating as a really interesting character. It is interesting that they're like, oh, she's in love with Kirk. So are they going to do this thing where they're setting up another love triangle? I mean, they're doing it already because some storylines are so. I hate this. I hate that this is about to happen, but I can see it coming like a fucking train down the tracks. When Kirk comes back to the ship, there's La'an between Spock and Kirk.
Don't think so.
Oh,
then
what are they doing?
Happen. Well, that is the question. What are they doing? I don't think it's that. I think she's put that to bed because she met Kirk after the fact, and he was a different Kirk. Like he was different to the Kirk that she knew. So
that's true.
I think
because it was a different timeline or whatever.
Different timeline, different whatever, and not the person she really knows. So she doesn't even know this Kirk. But I think internally she put that to bed. I think the show has definitely put that to bed and has definitely pivoted into whatever the fuck they're doing now by getting Spock straight into a new relationship. So I suppose we dive into that ambassador.
Okay.
How do you feel about this burgeoning romance that started literally in episode 2 and with a little seed of dancing and is now fully in our faces?
Whew.
And how unnecessary is it? I guess it's harsh to call anything unnecessary in a TV show, but that's where I'm at.
I think there is a compulsion to write relationships into our stories because for some reason we feel like the romance is really important.
Someone thinks that.
For the audiences. This isn't everything we see, right? That the audiences need to have some element of romance. And if we've taken away the captain and Batel's romance and we've taken away the Doctor and Spock's romance, that there's nothing for us to look at. And interestingly, the potential for Ortegas's brother to join and have a little romance with Uhura.
He exists.
That didn't pop up in this episode. So they're putting, kind of this vibe out there. I think the best thing that they could do is make that the end of it. Just
why not?
They have a great connection. They're enjoying each other. They gave a kiss. That can be it. And I think those simple storylines of interconnectivity between people is such a brave thing to do. Like, it is brave to not define relationships in content. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah. Because
it feels like everything gets pushed into a romance storyline instead of a comrade storyline.
Yeah.
Or, there's always this sort of like, are they going to fuck? And you know what? There's fan fiction out there. There's your imagination that can go there. But to dedicate more time for the writers to figure out how to just put people together, writers can make anything make sense.
You really can.
You can pigeonhole characters into a love triangle, an open relationship, polyamorous. Like, you could do whatever you fucking want. But is that what we're coming to Star Trek for? Maybe people want to see. Maybe it's like a Spock's flavor of the week. But like,
I'd like to see some more complexity in it, for sure.
For it to pop on episode, like it just popped up. Maybe this was something that was potentially nodded to or like a connection of some kind before. It's not really for me about like that. The writer storyline in and of itself kind of is like, oh, please don't, please don't. But do I believe that these characters could have a connection based on what they've shown me? Yes. Do I think that the writers will do whatever to make it make sense? Yes. But I think that Spock's like just his intentionality and his like way of being and all that stuff is probably very attractive to somebody like La'an, who has been through a lot of trauma, and she also is very sort of logistical and by the books and sort of intense. And I think she's going to find comfort in that. Do I think that those characters can work together? Sure. It's just because this is in the past, we don't really see how far that's going to go. So let's just not make it a thing and let it be a little like a dance partner, like kiss, and then they're done. Like, or maybe they're just play buddies and they just need to have their little fun times together and the door closes and that's it. Like, I don't want to fucking think about it. I don't care. I want to see the fucking engineering room.
I want a space adventure hour. Thank you.
Yeah.
To be clear, I have no issue with the possibility of it happening, and it probably is like real life can be boring. So to make it realistic, to make a TV show realistic, you can put stuff in this, and they would. Like, there is a chance that they would get close, but do we need that? Do we need that straight off of the back of Spock exploring what a relationship with Chapel is like and Chapel struggling with that? Like, what are we... My question always comes back down to why and what bit of humanity is Star Trek exploring? And it's just... I don't know why we're doing this. I don't know why we're doing it straight after Chapel. I don't know why... Why can't we explore, if you're going to do a romantic thing, why not explore two other people? Like, why
He's exploring the strange new world of sexual relations, apparently.
He's not, though. I mean, he is, but that's not really been a clear mission that he has. It just, I don't know. I just have a big, why are we doing this?
Yeah, me too. Especially, there's something to be said about this show built these characters in season 1 and gave us incredible visuals and amazing sets and props and design and stuff. And here we are in season 3, and this sort of activity makes me feel like they're still trying to find their way. And I think in season 3, you should know who your characters are. They should be sitting in those roles, and we should know when we tune in what we're going to get because we're here for it. Like that's
I even referenced that where Anson Mount's character is like, once you've done season 1, basically season 2 writes itself because you've done the hard work of establishing anything. So it's a really interesting point to bring up that some of this still feels a bit lost.
To me, it does. But here's something that we're suffering from. Episode 1 was the end of the cliffhanger. So that one's dedicated to that.
Yeah.
Episode 2 was a weird wedding. We're tying up the loose end of the Doctor and Spock. Yeah. Episode 3 is a holosuite episode. Mm-hmm. We have yet to see just what does season 3 actually feel like? What is our crew doing on a mission? What are we doing? And we haven't
seen a Strange New Worlds yet.
So when you pair my anxiousness to like sit in the pocket with this show and show me about going and exploring space and solve, like that is what I want to see. I don't want to see a holosuite episode where it's just La'an and her own imagination with a Spock that is a little bit too Spocky for her liking.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. Great. The entire episode is dedicated to her realizing that she likes Spock. Like, okay, but I don't want to see that. I'm not coming to Strange New Worlds to find out will they, won't they? That's never why I've come here. Like, it's interesting to see the development of relationships and characters and storyline, but I'm here for a space adventure.
It's very interesting that I hadn't really thought about this, but there is a bit of an identity crisis with Strange New Worlds because half of these 4 episodes have been homages to other Star Trek episodes. So the Wedding Bell Blues was an homage to a Q episode. This is a holodeck episode, and it's kind of taking it in its own direction a little bit, but it wasn't really. It's really just rinse and repeat, but in a very deliberate fashion. So yeah, it's not like when you look back and say, oh yeah, that's a classic Strange New Worlds episode. What is that? Yeah, But what even could you even describe that? Because I think you're right. I think it is having a bit of an identity crisis with honoring this classic Trek and also blazing the trail and doing its own thing.
Man, I go back to that cave episode and season 1. You know,
with the comet, the musical comet.
The music. That's what I think that's what it should be. Yeah, you know, like
Strange New Comets.
They didn't have to explain anything. They just were, and they went and they explored, and there was these great characters, and we got to learn so much, and it was so fucking beautiful. Like. That's what I want to see. And I don't know. It's slipping away from me a little bit. I love these characters. And I'm just really curious. I want to see them do what they're going to do. And I'm maybe more interested in seeing the final season than ever because I feel like they need to wrap up their version of these characters. And here I'm just seeing that the writers are still playing a little bit.
Yeah.
And I want them to get a little bit more serious. Not that I don't love comedy episodes. I asked for a comedy episode.
Yeah.
I think this was probably supposed to be a comedy episode, but for me, it didn't work. But I'm glad it did for you, and I'm glad it did for anybody who likes it. This is not about poo-pooing on people's experiences. We're just kind of talking about it.
No, and I'm going to be here defending it because I still had an absolute blast. I still think I'll look back and wish Strange New Worlds had been more of its own thing, given that we know that it's going to have 46 episodes in total, and that's it. How many can you afford to dedicate to this kind of thing when you only have 46 to tell your own story? So yeah, it's very interesting. Spock stuff aside, La'an is one of my favorite character arcs this season. Like, I love what they're doing with her. It reminds me of Patrick Stewart being kind of very stiff in the first 2 seasons and then coming out and being more the Picard that we know in season 3. I'm really enjoying La'an of this season.
Yeah.
That is looser, a bit freer, a bit more expressive, and understandably, because she's had a big resolution to the Gorn stuff. So for me, she has the most interesting arc of season 3. I know we're only a little bit into it, but the most pick up from season 2 into season 3, like the most interesting arc.
I agree.
I don't want to see the brakes turn on by her getting fridged or chapeled.
Right. I don't want to see her parked on the Spock, Kirk fuck bus, and that's just
oh my God, what a bus that is! Jesus,
like, okay, if that's your thing, but I just don't want it to become her identity because you're right. Thinking about her arc over the last couple of seasons before this, she really gets to show a lot of like growth from, I would love to go back and watch. She is a great character. And I wonder what's going to happen with her character. If they're going to do a spinoff from Strange New Worlds to do something else, you know, sort of in this timeline, because obviously we've got the Kirk stuff that's coming up, maybe parallel to that. Is there going to be another show where we get to follow some of our characters from Strange New Worlds? I don't think that that's happening, but like, let's just pretend for a second. She would be a character that you want to take with you. Yeah. That would be the thing that splits them up, is that she gets to go on a different ship, you know?
Yeah, I really would love that. I would love a spin-off that happens with some of this crew. I imagine that Anson Mount and Una would be sunsetted into whatever their future is. We know about Pike's. I mixed the actors and characters' names. That was weird. Pike and Una are like off doing whatever they're doing. We know about Pike's future. But yeah, like Ortegas and like Uhura, there's still a gap between like the where Strange New Worlds we know is going to end and all of them being on the Enterprise again under Kirk. So there's more time to fill, and I feel like the 5-year thing ends because of contracts more than anything else. So if you can just start a new show that's cheaper with similar sets and cheaper actors because you're not renegotiating long contracts, yeah, there's still plenty to do in this time period, I think.
Yeah, and I want to see it. When we were talking about like that season 1 vibe, someone in chat mentioned the kid battery episode, which I completely forgot about until right now, and that was that haunted me for the rest of the season. But guess what? That's the kind of crazy space exploration. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna watch the show no matter what they put out. Period. I'm in for the long haul. Period. This did not like kick me out. It just wasn't like it wasn't my vibe. And I'm totally fine with like La'an and Spock hooking up. I'm fine with it. I just hope that they don't make it everything.
Yeah, completely agree. Let's talk about, I'm going to jump around a little bit. I wanted to mention how much I love Scotty's performance. And the actor. I am just going to quickly pull up his name, which I think I struggled to pronounce last time.
We didn't even see the bartender this episode.
Oh my God, we've got a new bartender.
When are they coming on board? We kind of got the little wink nudge just as coming sort of vibe. But anyway, so I'm really curious what they're going to do next episode, because it felt like we're getting set up for something. But obviously Scotty has got a very firm place, in it. So yeah, go. What are your thoughts on Scotty?
Not hard to pronounce at all. Martin Quinn, I think he's doing an incredible job as Scotty. And what I picked up on this time, I don't know, maybe I just had too much coffee this morning, but his anxiety felt so real that it made me, for the first time, I think, in Star Trek history, afraid of the space thing that I know won't kill them. But because he is operating like from a level of panic and anxiety, I felt that like pressure to perform. And Captain Pike is like, I need an answer right now, Scotty. We will not survive this gamma ray burst or whatever it was. And that's one of the first times that I actually felt like, I knew they were all going to survive, but I felt the pressure of Scotty, and just the way like he managed to communicate, wow, it's on me.
Yeah.
Like there are 200 and whatever people on this ship, but right now in this moment, the entirety of it is on me in this room. And I just really felt that. And I think that is good directing. That is him being able to communicate that as an actor. I think he's one of the best recastings I've seen in Star Trek. He's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And even though the person who's playing Kirk is overplaying the Kirk character, that I feel like very strongly that was part of the direction.
Oh, of course. Just for that episode. Yeah.
But there were enough mannerisms in there. I was like, oh my God, that's Kirk.
Oh, he did great.
So to see some of the Scotty stuff, it's that's Scotty. And they're really dialing in these beloved forever characters that firmly planted sci-fi in everyone's home, and it's why we're here today doing the show. It's really, really cool to see it. I felt like I understood what he was saying better in this episode, and this is not his fault. It is my American ears fault. I'm
completely
watching
fair. Taskmaster?
I'm watching a lot of Taskmaster these days.
We're going to have to put the subtitles on at some point, because I can't keep explaining the episode.
Literally, I'm like, I have no idea what that person just said.
That's amazing.
And it's not there's Irish, there's Scottish, there's all these like there's Northern, there's all these accents that I'm like I have no clue. So I just need to open up my little American ear a little bit, start listening. I can understand people talk hick, but I can't understand that, you know. So there's just these weird like things that are popping up. But I really do like the Scotty character, and I like that they made him have the flaw of taking on the pressure for himself. And once again, number one is in this great position of saying, like, you can't make those decisions. There's too much at stake. So she's correcting the crew last episode and this episode. Which is what a first officer does. Like, and I miss that. Yeah.
She is really flying. Like, we would see Riker do that a lot. Like, she is really, like, they've really nailed what the purpose of the first officer should be with her. I think she's singing. She's getting the opportunity to sing a lot more in this episode, which is in this season, which is really, really great.
So yeah, when we're in the starship and we're getting to see our crew come together, I was having a great time, and I do love this episode. It was such a small portion of this episode. No, I get it. It is a small portion, and it again, when you have a 26 episode season, I can forgive meandering through a holodeck, but the murder mystery part was the weakest bit, and it's really convoluted. I felt.
I've seen so many murder mysteries. It felt so basic to me. It felt convoluted in the most basic way, as every single murder mystery. Dialogue heavy, like so much explainy dialogue for something that isn't it's not what the episode is about.
Yeah. And I know we're bouncing a lot in this episode, but I do want to say also, and this is thanks to the live chat, that the vibe that was being talked about is that number one's character was a Lucille Ball wink and nod. Because she was campaigning. Was one of the big campaigners to keep Star
talking
Trek
to
going.
The studio heads and like, don't do this. Well, there's a really deep cut when they're talking about Anson Mount's character getting a movie deal in exchange for stepping away from Star Trek. That was loosely what they were trying to do with Gene Roddenberry. Just like, can we give you something else if you drop this fucking Star Trek thing? And Gene was like, no, I'm writing Star Trek, so you either want me for this or you don't, dickheads. And they bargained. It happened again with I love this nerdy stuff so much with the Final Frontier. No, sorry, the motion picture was, the special effects was such a mess. They had to bring in another company to fix it and to put it all back together. And they promised the person behind that special effects company will give you a movie if you fix the motion picture. And it's like, okay, I'll do it, but I need a blank check on my own movie. So it's just this nod to the background dealings that have to happen. And it's like not just about the fans. It is about these crooked handshakes that happen as well. And it's some sheer fact of randomness in a lot of ways that we even have Star Trek into the 2020s, and it didn't just die in 1967.
And this is why I will watch the show no matter what. Like, I want them to have my little vote, and my little vote is my number. My little vote is me watching. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
me
absolutely.
Spending my time doing what we're doing now, and I guess encouraging anyone who listens to the podcast too, be active in the forums. So find the Star Trek sites, find the Star Trek communities, and pay attention, because if this is true for anything. If you get complacent and you're not trying to stay connected, then you sort of like stop caring a bit about whether it's there or not. And I really, really enjoy Star Trek, and it very much felt like an episode where they knew that they probably were going to get cut. And so they're like, let's just tie it into TOS and just like, let's say some, let's say some very bold things to these characters. It's like role play with your therapist when you get the, you get the little hand puppets out or something, and you're just talking about it or whatever. And you can say the hard things because it's not you saying it. I used to do this with my daughter, actually. When we were playing with her, like her toys, she would like have one of her toys like attack my face or something. And so I would say to the toy, I would say, hey, you're not supposed to do that. And then it would do it again. And I would make sure that the toy got in trouble and not Iris, so she could kind of like feel the burden of all of that. And she got to work out her angst.
Okay, can you talk to your toy? Well. They're being a dick.
So I mean, what a great level. We get to watch all this sort of work itself out and watch good shit. So,
well, I'm really interested to see how this tweaks your brain. But this episode, directed by, of course, Jonathan Frakes.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
How interesting is that? I knew this would short circuit her brain a little bit.
This episode does so much. So I think it was definitely well directed.
Yeah.
That makes sense as to the chair now a bit too, doesn't it?
The Riker maneuver that fucks goes wrong. Chair completely is
You did a Riker maneuver that just went wrong in the room a moment ago.
Yeah, but we don't need to talk about that.
Okay, all right.
Riker.
Okay.
It's flat. I love that. Like when I read that Frakes directed this episode, I was like, that makes sense. I don't think I dislike it. Other than the Thunderbirds movie that he directed, I don't think I dislike a single thing Frakes has directed. He might be the ultimate Star Trek fan. Like, I think he knows this franchise and what the fans get from it more than anybody else. And maybe that's to the detriment of bringing new people in, but it sure as heck is a big old cuddle for the deep nerds and those of us that were born on a Star Trek television. I don't know what that means, but...
Man,
born with Star Trek playing as I was born.
Imagine being like, okay, so you're Jonathan Frakes. You watched Star Trek, and then you became Star Trek, and you're directing Star Trek, and you're directing this episode, and you're thinking about OG Star Trek, and you're the reason that we have the male gaze camera shots that we got on the fake TOS show that we just watched.
Yes.
There was a moment when Chapel was like, just like sex bent over the background. Not the first shot, like a beat later where she's like working on the computer system. And I'm thinking like, man, they really are just wanting to point out that they had nothing to do other than just bend over computers and lounge on things.
Some of them, and it
was so overdone.
Yeah, but we've seen one of these episodes where that happens, and it like McCoy, Scotty, and Kirk are all ogling this yeoman and just talking about, she's young, she doesn't know, and this is why we don't have women in the military because they're fucking stupid. So, it's like it's so awkward.
But adding Frakes to that does make it a little sweeter because it makes me think like, okay, he was very intentional about all of those things. It wasn't just like a fluke. And I'm not saying that any other director would be a fluke, but there's a different care with certain people, and I have a heart for Frakes. And so yes, that I'm glad to know that his hand is in this.
And if this was purely so that Frakes could just have some fun for a few weeks, cool, get it. Completely fine. Like I'll take it. Like he deserves all of it, to be honest. I'm not going to mention how bad Mbenga's English accent was.
Okay, good. Let's move on.
And instead, we're going to move on. I do think it's bizarre that they give up on the holodeck so easily. Like the hiccup here is that it's a big power drain and it wasn't very safe. But Spike is just like, kill it immediately. It is. Do you know what you're killing? You can go anywhere, be anything, do anything. Like, why would you be? I can't imagine anybody being so quick to say, let's work on this technology. He's like, immediately, shelve it, don't need it. Does he not know that it can create horses? He loves horses.
I mean, everybody almost just died because of it, so.
Worth it. It's the advancement of technology, come on. We mentioned Scotty and like the props and what, Scotty's lab and stuff. Did you see the little transparent rectangles? He had little transparent rectangle data things that would move from slot to slot.
Yeah, the data chips.
Yeah, that's exactly what they have in TOS, but they're colored. They're like red, blue, and yellow. Yeah. And whenever you want to bring up some information, you'd move this rectangle floppy disk around. And I love that they still have them. They're honoring them. They look a bit more futuristic-y.
Sure.
But they're still moving around physical items while they're traveling faster than light. And
Be honest, are you thinking about 3D printing them?
Already in my brain. Okay. Already, yeah.
Yep.
The queue for my 3D printer is big. Right, please email me anything you want printed. Of course, did you hear the doors? The shunkung, like the shuttle wait. The actual engineering doors were the holodeck door sound was right there. It was like shuku, really, really satisfying. But that does lead me to an issue. Where the fuck was the holodeck? What room did they take over?
Oh,
and then have to dismantle? Like
that was the bathroom, I'm pretty sure.
They intertwined all of this technology, this brand new room, and then they're just going to switch it off and convert it back into the daycare? Like, what was it before it was the holodeck?
Yeah, it was the bathroom.
Okay, just one big bathroom.
Yeah, it was a huge bathroom. Yeah. It was the bathing suite. It was a cargo bay.
Yeah. Why the fuck would you try and kill somebody with a chandelier?
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, it didn't really work for me. It was you tampered with the
everything.
I don't know.
I know, like if it was like if Spock did do it, why did he save her from the chandelier that he set up? Why wouldn't you just nudge her underneath it? She should be dead.
Yeah. Because then he had to save for the moment whenever she got a little bit of a cut, and he's like, we got bigger problems, and that's that I can actually kill you and I want to.
Yep. Whoops. Pips for me. 3 out of 4. 2.5. 2.5 out of 4. 3.
Wow.
3
Whoa.
3 out of 4.
2.5.
No, 3.
Why did you go down suddenly?
Because of the murder mystery element, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But the rest of it picks it up a lot for me, so I'm sticking with 3.
Because I checked out so hard, like I'm going to have to go 2.5.
Oof. Brutal, but fair.
If I'm looking at my phone through more than half of your episode, yeah.
It's fair.
I'm out.
That tells you what you need to know.
I might even just, let's do a 2. Let's make it easy.
Stop before we get even lower.
Yeah, I'm going to go down to 2 on that one.
Stop it.
Okay, it's slipping. We're slipping down into Sir-Ruthie levels.
No, 2 pips. Okay, anything else, Ambassador?
Nope, that's it.
Let's do it. Okay, hailing frequencies open, everyone. It's time for us to read your messages from Discord, Twitch, and, well, email. Okay, we got an email from
Twitter,
email from JCD. Your acting cadet would like to make a prediction for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, presumably, namely Ortegas. I don't know which episode it will be, maybe What is Starfleet, which is an upcoming episode, but I think we're finally going to have an Erica-centric episode, which might also be the episode where experiences from the hegemony and shuttle to Kinfori will catch up to Erica and she'll take on an extended amount of leave time from the Enterprise, and allowing the show to introduce another TOS character into the fold, being Sulu, who I think Sulu and Chekhov are the only 2 people that we haven't actually seen, other than Yeoman Rand. She would be the other one, I think. Just a wild guess as to what's going to happen, because I almost wanted to guess we'll meet Dr. McCoy at some point as well. Do you think they'll do that in the next couple of seasons? Do you think we'll get a McCoy introduction and a Sulu introduction?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think I don't think they're going to be able to stop themselves. Have you seen how much they do self-referential things?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think they're going to have like a little list, and that goes to your predictions as well for having they might just be like a walkthrough on an episode or something like that, or just like an introduction that's a wink and a nod, and then it makes sense as to why we see them later. But I think that if they don't, it would be a big why not for most people. I think Sulu, yes. McCoy, no, is my instinct. I don't see an organic way for McCoy to be there because Mbenga is still the pilot. Doesn't matter. Well, I think, but Mbenga is probably going to be gone. They already have another person to kind of replace Christine, who's still there. Christine is still nurse during TOS. So she just chooses to be a nurse for the rest of her life instead of a doctor. That makes sense. I mean, she has a love interest now, so why does her arc matter at all? That's it. Well, he also pops up in TOS as well. I'm not surprised. Yeah. Well, okay. So this one's from the chat. This is from Sir-Ruthie. And I appreciate it because, it's confirming my own. It's a nice little echo chamber for you. That's great. I enjoyed all the references to actual 60s Trek in the studios, etc. But I did not enjoy the episode itself either. The holodeck plot, I did not enjoy. I did enjoy that the cast had fun, but the story didn't engage me at all. I was with you. And I think I would say exactly the same, but still end up on the I enjoyed it side, which is it's one of those fascinating things. Yeah, and that's okay. Yeah. It's kind of like if you go to a restaurant and you get the same meal, but it's just like a new cook, and so you're going to excuse them because eventually they're going to get the enchilada right, but this just wasn't it. Not with my food. No excuses. I don't have any wiggle room. We have an email from Arunan, who's a long-time listener. Hey, y'all, it's been a while since I've seen it, and this is for Ambassador Deneé. But I seem to remember the TNG episode Sarek, and Picard remembers that he first met Sarek at his son's wedding. So take heart, Deneé. Spock will find someone. Sarek is Spock's dad. Within the next 100 years or so, Vulcans are patient. I would love some confirmation on that because I don't remember that line. But it sounds like Spock does get married off screen. We don't know about it. The books don't count. So that's really interesting. But does it give you some hope that he eventually ends up married as of the TNG episodes? No, because it doesn't have to fucking be about love. I do want Spock to have a good story. I want him to have a good life. I love this character. I believe that he is likely the Vulcan version of happy because he's doing what he thinks is a very important thing to do, which is help to maneuver the difficulties of space and exploration and all the decisions that he has to make alongside Kirk and then in the future. I mean, his influence is what makes the Federation. And I think that he will die a very fulfilled individual. Yeah. I didn't need him to be in love to be fulfilled, though. Like, I can't be upset with the episode for trying to give him a love and then be like, I hope he gets married and has children someday, because that's just not, it should not always be.
No, there are multiple forms of happiness and prosperity. And as a Spock, he should have lots of, as a Vulcan, he should know there are lots of ways to live long and prosper.
You did the work to get there, and I can respect that.
Ba-bum. Let's go. I just wanted to go through. So we had some lovely predictions from Wandering Winder, who as a heroic selection of you send in some detailed predictions and sins, and I appreciate it every single week. But one of Wandering's predictions made me chuckle. Was that it's just going to be a sports day, and it was going to be an Enterprise sports day, which I would have absolutely loved. Some kind of zero-G training for the new nurse and others, which, because La'an is trying to open up, she turns into some kind of team sports contest. Correct that La'an was fronting it, but not a sports day. Meanwhile, Spock, Scotty, and Pelia are looking into some new potential subspace phenomenon with the deflector to try and purify something, possibly neutrinos. Klingons show up, suspicious of the phenomenon, and they come in firing. The damage to the navigation array also leaves the zero-G team stranded. Una has been flying the ship in the meantime pretty impressively, but then they bring in Ortegas to thread a needle. Bits of that were right. They did bring in Ortegas. Wow. But I love how specific all of those predictions were. That was such a Deneé level of specificity.
I'm here for it.
Couple of hits in there.
Here's one from Sean, who says, Jonathan Frakes rang up Larry Nemeczek,
yes.
And asked him for Gene Roddenberry reference material, not telling him what it was for. We now know it was for this episode.
That's fun.
And Larry confirmed it on his live stream.
Yeah, Larry Nemeczek is like a famous Star Trek historian. He is deep in the lore guts.
Well, so maybe that was how some of the tea was spilled about things that were happening behind the scenes back in the day.
Well, a lot of that is in a book called The 50-Year Story, and it's for the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. There's a big oral history, which is an amalgamation of like emails and letters and telephone combinations that are put together to create an oral written history of Star Trek. So a lot of it is in there, but if you're fakes, you haven't got time to read the entire fucking book. So you're going to go to one of the source people.
Wow.
And do it.
There you go.
And get it right. An email from Dave saying that technically one of your predictions is correct. Then
I like this one already.
Right, I thought you would. One of your predictions was that there will be blue twinkly lights, and we kind of saw that in Wedding Bell Blues with the Q appearing.
Yes, that's it. That was it.
If you want to claim it, I suppose I'll let you have it.
Well, what's interesting is I don't go back and read my predictions, and so all I have is the memory of the impression of the visual that I was seeing, which is why the hair clamshell has to be it, because that's what I saw. And you can believe me. You don't have to believe me.
People, it doesn't matter. You don't give money to psychics.
It's between me and whatever being is watching me to make sure that I'm being honest. But I saw that. Thank you for reminding me.
I see a space Q coming down to attack you right now.
Don't lie. You're freaked out by my goo-goo weirdness.
I've actually stopped being freaked out by it. It's just become normal.
Now it's become normal, and you can make fun of it again. I see.
Yeah, it's like one of the superpowers that Twix has that you hide. Yeah. Okay, well, with that, everybody, thank you for listening to our ramblings. I think it matches very well the rambling nature of the episode itself, if I'm gonna try and explain how we jumped around. But yeah, find us in all of the unusual places, as things are going to be slightly moving. Hang around until after the music, and we're going to record a bit of an explanation about where Captain's Pod is moving to, where you can get in touch with us, and also new ways that you can support the show as we enter an exciting next phase. Next phase. Phase 2.
Phasers fired.
Phase 2, because that's a Star Trek reference. Star Trek Phase 2.
Oh, I see.
Was going to be the second TV show.
Oh, that was clever. And then I added phaser. Sorry about that.
Until then, I'm Captain Ian, and I can't give them our brain cells. We need them for science reasons.
For many science
reasons.
That was mine too. Bye!
Live long and Podsper.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Captain's Pod. If you'd like to get in touch with the podcast, you can send us an email to ian@iananddeneé.com. And if you want to support the show and get the episodes early, you can go to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/iananddeneé. If you want to catch the show live, we have those links down in the description for YouTube and Twitch. And then I think I'm supposed to close this hailing frequency, so bloop bloop, we're out. Wait! Before you go, we're going to have some new places to listen and watch Captain's Pod. For those of you who are listening on podcast, your RSS feed will stay the same. So you'll be able to still get the podcast exactly like you always do. But where this really comes into impact is anybody who wants to watch live or watch the videos on YouTube or talk to us in Discord. So we're going to give you the information here so you have it. It is linked in the description of this podcast as well, so you can read it whenever you're ready.
So if you want to catch us record the show live, the new home for that will be youtube.com/Ian and Deneé.
If you like to watch on Twitch instead, it'll be on my Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/Deneé Says. DENEESAYS.
And if you want to get in touch with the show, all of that will go to Ian@iananddeneé.com. Just put Captain's Pod in the subject heading. It's like everything's Ian and Deneé.
Except for the Twitch.
Except for the Twitch. You know.
And like we said, all of this is going to be in the description of this podcast or video wherever you're watching. So all of the updates will be just down there in the description. Or if you would prefer for more personal updates, we do have our own Patreon now, where you can find all of the information about this update for free. You can join our little Patreon for free. That's patreon.com/, of course, Ian and Deneé.
Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. That's different to everything else.
For all of our current Patreon supporters for Captain's Pod, all of that will be moving over to this new Patreon. And again, we will make a post about it that you can read for free over at patreon.com/Ian and Deneé.
We can't wait to continue talking about Star Trek long into the future and appreciate you sticking with us as we change course.
Ever so slightly.
Test. Deneé, give me a test.
Did you put my mic over there?
I sure did.
Okay, that makes sense as to why I have my headphones on, but I can't hear shit.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
We got cursed a little bit because when we were doing our shows over the weekend when we were playing games and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was Sci-Fi Brony or someone said that they missed me like running in late. And then now it's like we're running in late.
Oh, we're both running in late. But
only a few minutes.
The trade-off. No, what do you mean a few minutes? Like, we're super late. We should be like recording 10 minutes ago.
I thought it was at 11.
Yeah, I really need to change that from 11 to like 11:50. Like it doesn't.
11 to 11:50 means we have another. You mean 10:50?
10:50. Yeah, 11:50. I'm going to give us even less time.
So we're late in your imagination, but not on the calendar.
Well, I mean, when you put it like that. Technically, no, it's fine. Technically, this episode is 47 minutes long. So as long as we start watching the episode by 11:13, then we're okay. So I guess we've got 9 minutes to talk shit.
Which is not that long, considering you and I can talk for a lot longer than that. I'm literally here.
Good. Captain's Pod, stardate 200485.1. Welcome aboard the Starship Enterprise, and thank you for joining us as we shit.
I don't think we should invite anybody in here while we shit.
Agreed. Welcome to Okay, here's the actual question. I kind of need to pee. Should I do it now?
Yeah, otherwise it's going to distract you the whole time.
Yeah, I'm on the edge.
You're just going to be sitting there just like dancing around the whole entire time, and you're going to Yeah, you should go wee-wee. You should do a wee.
I fell down on the way here.
You know, I was the only one who saw it. I kept it together and didn't bring it up, but now that you've brought it up, I literally watched Ian walk across the background. So like behind my computer, he's walking across the room and he just all of a sudden goes, "What?" And he's just down. Oh, Lord.
I tripped over a laptop case, which is annoying.
Oh, Ates and Sarah are bonding over their love of Supernatural. Let's go. Oh, wow. Are we the same person now?
Are you?
That was the most challenging don't fuck with me face.
It just seemed like the easiest way to confuse you with an answer to that question. One of the editors is editing something that I can't say, and I just sent them my condolences because it's a particular movie I don't envy them having to, even if they haven't seen the movie, I don't feel good about them having to edit the clips together. And one of the other editors, so I sent him my condolences, and one of the other editors replied saying, I saw all of them in the theatre, and I didn't even know one of these released in the theatre. So I want to talk more about his experience and how he ended up at the theatre seeing this disgusting movie.
So let's get into why you're here, hopefully, and that's to enjoy Ian and I talking about Star Trek, but we like to start off just with life stories and such like that, and I wanted you to tell the story about getting a certain bite.
Which one? From a mineral or animal?
Animal.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I have
mineral.
It's weird that I have both. Yeah, a mineral bit me yesterday.
Mineral. Yes, it did bite you yesterday. I'm with you.
As you know, we've stolen a cat. Deneé has stolen a cat.
I like that you pause because you know I object.
I could see you object, both in real life and on my screen.
The cat chose me.
Yes, the cat did choose you as the person feeding it and letting it in and loving on it and giving it a lot of attention and goat's milk.
Hims gets little massages too.
He really does. And then he gets picked up by Iris and just spooned.
Yeah.
There is a new routine, and I've had lots of cats, and I have a very specific routine. And when they're an outdoor cat, they go outside at night because it's what they're a bit more feral and animally. And they just go, moo, and they moo all night if you don't put them out. So
They howl.
They moo. Before
this one moos.
Moo.
He has such a bellow.
100%. So before I got into this routine, the cat was still inside the house. And in the middle of the night, it's about 2 a.m., I feel something jump onto the end of the bed. And I'm like, okay, fine. He curls up and just snuggles by my little feet. And I was like, well, okay, this is adorable. Maybe I can get used to this. And then, chomp, I feel an entire mouth, teeth, and tongue around my big toe. Just pure chomp. Just unprovoked. Just hum.
And he didn't bite. He just
bite.
It's sort of just
gummed me.
I think he was just testing girth, but he did that.
So I'm just like, okay, fine, don't do that again. And he doesn't like that I don't react, and I don't give him any scritches or any attention.
You ignore him completely.
I ignore him. So he moves up my body and into the crook of the back of my knee and just curls up. And I'm like, okay, good, you're going to sleep. And then maybe, I don't know what time it was, but I'm going to guess maybe an hour or so later, I feel another chomp, this time on my bottom.
And that is unfortunately not the last time the cat has nipped at him. Although most of them are to toes, but
it's usually a drive-by towing. But I reached down because I was like, I'm sure he just reached out and grabbed my butt. But no, I reached down and I felt his head. And he had just full on opened his mouth as wide as he could and chomped on my bum.
Yeah, your shock was one of my favorite. You're like, the cat just bit my toe.
It's like, Deneé.
That was my bum.
The cat just bit my bum.
That's great. It was great. I love this cat. This cat's amazing. Let's talk about getting bit by the mineral, which is the big one. Like, yeah, everyone can understand being bit by an animal that likes to prowl and hunt at night. But this one, I think you confused everyone. You confused me, and I was there. Yeah,
I realized this was especially knowing one of Deneé's phobias. This wasn't
not great.
This wasn't a great thing to do, but
go on.
We had a river trip yesterday, and it's a very shallow river, and it's just we're in these like floaty things, and you float down the river. But this bit was particularly shallow, and my rubber ring obviously has a hole in the middle because it's a ring.
His floaty tube.
I feel something prod my bottom, and I go, oh, something bit my butt. And then I'm making a joke out of it because I'm saying a stone. Like, I've got a cat that bit my bum, and now a stone has bit my bum, not realizing that Deneé and Iris might actually think there's a creature in the water biting butts.
You had just been talking like that your butt's kind of like hanging out in this open spot of the floaty tube. And we're just sort of like coasting down this river all, chill. And we get to this particularly shallow part. And I did not say like lift up because it's very, very shallow. So if you don't lift up, you're going to get stuck on the bank. Like you're not going to go any further.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just this little rock sticking up. And I didn't see the rock. I did see that the way that the water was sort of shooting at that particular part was a little different than the rest. I could have deduced that there was a rock there. But I was telling Iris, okay, lift up your bums, here we go. And then all of a sudden, you were like, wouldn't it be interesting if something just came up and bit me in my ass? And I was like, yeah, that'd be really funny. And then you're like, something did bite my
It just
It was
like
just a rock.
stroked me. It just
It was
reached
just a
up
rock.
and stroked me. That's what.
It's so funny. And then you actually need a rock and you cracked your skin open.
I was trying to catch up with you and I just clonked my kneecap on a big fucking rock.
This is what happens when you go out in nature. Nature happens.
Nature hurts you. Nature knows that you're not one of its people.
All right. We want what you need to name everything that's bit your butt in your life.
A cat, a rock. I think that's it. It's a
Here.
short list and it's happened recently.
Here's the idea. Your background right now has some blank spots. We 3D print a panel that you can move them around so that when the show starts, you can kind of like move them around and you can have something to kind of like a little interactive panel.
Let's go. That would not be a hard thing to print because it's just a rectangle.
It's just rectangles. Oh, hey, but they're like colored. So we could get like the transparent kind of print stuff and then we could backlight it to where when you put them in,
Oh my
maybe
gosh,
like
and they
little
light
lights
up.
pop.
But then I would just do a nice linear chip thing.
Yeah, let's do that too.
With the little
All of it. Yeah.
Just start moving them around.
Mm-hmm.
Iris would move them around immediately.
Okay. And then suddenly during the show, something goes wrong. We shift around in the seat. Oh no. And then I like pull a little lever and then coming from above your head is just a whole bunch of rubble that falls on top of your head. It'll be like soft, you know, we'll use soft materials, but it'll look like stones.
I'm just looking how much headroom I have and that could actually happen.
I know, that's why I'm excited about
this
it.
edit is going to be a mess and I love it.
Oh, you hate me on your show.
No, I love you on my show. Our show, shit. Our show. We did forget to mention this. Cinema snobs, snarky bastards who make fun of movies and TV. Who would even want to watch them? It's sometimes weird when pop culture does this.
We don't even know if it's a true this though.
Did you mean Cinemasins? Is that what you were saying? Is that what you meant? Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh yeah, look at that body.
Whoa, hold on. Whoa.
Holy
wait
shit.
A
Hold
minute.
on a second.
Wait,
Oh my god.
whoa, wait,
that was male gaze.
Hello everybody, welcome to the captainspod live show.
Oh, you're doing the Kirk thing.
Will somebody fix my chair?
Yeah, that's fair. I should expect that. Did you put that in last week?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
I think it ended with me saying Jesus Christ, actually.
Did it? I should have.
Yeah, I turned you down.
I'm so sorry.
I had to like modulate that clip. Specifically.
I made that noise. Your decision to put it in.
Fair. Absolutely fair.